Okay, this is the first scramble. Linus +2 is a 319. This was 5 move optimal V, and he did 5 moves, so good job for finding optimal on a bad scramble. That's not easy to do. So he does tips at the start, and then he's going to do R prime U to make this block, and then L prime, U prime, or no, he actually cancels with an L2 like that, which is fine. And then he rotates and does a good L4 with AUFs. So that was a 13 move body. I did the same color V as you, but the problem with your solution is you have to rotate to get to where you need to be to do your L4E, which is something you should be thinking about. And there's also a pretty easy way to do this 5 move V with no rotation. So let me find it. Oh yeah, okay, so from here you can do R prime to make this block, B prime, and then R, U, R to insert this piece. And then you just get the same L4 as you got, but with no AUF, so that's gonna save 2 moves on your body. That was the solution I did, and there's not a lot on this scramble that's very good, but I'd like to show it took me a second of playing around to find this, so I don't expect you to do it. Like, I didn't find it in 15 seconds, but there is a really nice 9 mover on this scramble, 9 move body. So you can do U prime to make this like bar, and then B prime, and then if you insert this piece down here with RUR prime, finish the V with L, you just can insert. So I don't expect you to see that because I didn't, and that's like a pretty difficult solution to see. It took me a minute. But that is a pretty cool solution for that scramble. But yeah, that one, like, good job for finding optimal V. They're just maybe thinking about next time, if there's a way you can do it without rotating, do that way. All right, this was a 331. This is 13 move body, 1 tip. So Linus is gonna go for a red V. He does a 6 move red V. This scramble is 5 optimals, so getting 6 on a 5 optimal, your speed isn't terrible. 5 optimals usually kind of hard to find. So he does tip at the start, and then R prime, U prime, R prime, and then L, U, L prime. He does do the good finger trick. He doesn't regrip up, which is something I see a lot of people have trouble with, or they just can't do this finger trick. So good job knowing how to do that. And then he rotates for super sledge. So that is all right, but it's got a rotation in it. I'm going to show another 13 move body you could have seen that has optimal V and no rotation. And then I'm going to show the solution I did, which I'm actually like pretty proud of. So on blue, you could have noticed that when 2 moves, you have this blue red bar, and then you're just set up to this 1 flip case. But something to know about this 1 flip case is you can flip any of these edges. In this case, it doesn't matter because you're going to do Polish flip no matter what. Like, you're going to flip whatever edges here. So ordinarily, you'd want to check doing all these pre-moves and seeing what gives you the best case. But here, they're all Polish flip. So you can just do that straight into Polish flip, which is slightly nicer for finger tricks because there's no B moves or rotations. But then another thing you could have seen is on yellow or on red. So you can think about inserting this piece into the bottom like that, except doing it with R and L moves. So up like this, and then you can match this up before you put this back down, R prime, L prime, to finish the V, and then that gives you just a 3 cycle. But if you know, there's a lot of good alternate algs to know for this 3 cycle, and one of them has doing hedge first and then inserting. So you could have, we had it like this, so if you would have 1-looked this, you could have even just canceled into the hedge and then inserted, which I think is like a 9 move body or something. I didn't see the cancellation. I did this altalg, or the mirror. But that's just an interesting solution on that one. But that solved like pretty similar to the last bad scramble. You found an almost optimal V, but you could have easily eliminated a rotation. Okay, this was the 3rd scramble. This was a 338. So Linus is going to go for a green V. He does tips at the start, and then he's going to move this center out of the way, move this center in, and move this center back. And then something here that kind of puzzles me is he does B moves, which there's definitely a time and place for that, but since you had to rotate anyway to get to your L4, like the open slot, you should have just rotated here and then inserted with RU moves. That would have been a lot more finger tricky. And then here, Linus just does regular Polish flip. To skip pre-AUF, you could have done this alternate alg, R, U, R prime, U prime, L prime, U, L, U, but I'm not going to be too nitpicky there. I think what you did is fine. This was a 4-move optimal V, and you did 6, so I think these 2 4-move Vs that I'm going to show are pretty findable. So where was the first? Yeah, the first one is here. If you notice, this can go down here and this can be moved over here by just doing a hedge. But then you get a not very good case. But those sledge Vs, that's a pattern you should be looking for, because when you get them, it's super easy to one look. And that can give you some really fast times. What I did on this scramble, which I think was an 11-move body, is the 4-move V on blue. I'm also going to go over how to one-look it, because this is a really easy one-look trigger, and at your speed, you should probably be thinking about starting to one-look some easier stuff. So, I did U, L prime, B, L, for the blue V, and one looking this, you know, this top center is just going to be moved, you move away like that. This piece is going to go with it, but stay where it's at. This sticker is going to move here and then back to here. And then this sticker will be here. So you know that after your V, you're just going to have good Nicky with no AUFs, which I think is a solution you could have seen and is pretty spammy and just fast to execute. Okay, this is the next scramble. Linus gets a 298. On this one, he goes for a 5-move yellow V. The scramble was 4 optimal for a V. So his tips at the start: R prime to move down this block, U prime, B prime, U, B. Which you want to avoid doing B moves like that when you can. There's a time and place for it, but there were better solutions on this scramble that didn't involve like B move inserts like that. And then here, Linus does a U, and then goes into this alg, U sledge. I'd like to show, this is the same move count, but a lot more finger tricky, a better alg for this case. You can go U prime, insert this edge down here, and now you have this case. So it's almost like 3/4 of a 4 flip. It's very fast. But I'd like to show, that was a 14-move body. I'd like to show a few shorter things that I found. Oh, this is the last scramble. Oops. Okay, I'd like to show a few shorter things that I found. The first one, you can notice that this is a 10-move body with ML40 and a 12-move body without it. So you can notice, I'll show both executions. Linus, you don't need to know ML40 yet, but I'm going to show it anyway. So you can take this piece from here and insert it up here with R prime, U, R, L prime to make the V in 4 moves. And then you can go U prime into the easiest ML40. And then executed from the like L40 angle, it's still pretty nice. You can do L, U, L prime, B prime. Something important to note is you would want to check what inserting each of these pieces would give you. But in this case, the best one is just, it's already set up to it. So just like that, and then you get good Nicky with AUFs. And I think that's a 12-move body. There's also an 11-move body that's a little harder to find, that I just found when I was looking for a better like non-ML40 solution. This is 11 moves you could have seen. So this is a 5 move V that cancels. So you could set up this block with B prime and then insert this edge down here with RU R prime, and then L would make the V, but you can cancel into this alternate alg, so you could just go U, L, sledge U, and that's, I think, an 11 move body. Okay, this is the last scramble. This is a 4 move optimal V. Linus does 5. It is a 5 move layer, gets 241. So he just tips at the start, and then he does U, and then he does the sledge V thing that I talked about earlier, so he must know it. Like that, and then the alg I do starts from here, and I'm going to show that alg later, but doing that big of a rotation is awkward. Linus uses a different alg anyway, so he rotates up like this, does a sexy move, and then a sledge. That was a 13 move body, but if you learn this alg I'm about to show you and just execute it a little differently, you can cut that to 11 pretty easily, and then I'm going to show the 9 move body that I did. So if you execute the sledge V from like a Z prime angle like this, so L and then insert like that, you can rotate up into this alg, which you should definitely know because this is the best alg for this case. The mirror applies for the mirror obviously, but you can go R prime, inverse lefty sexy move, so U prime L, L, L prime U, L, R, so just like that, and that would have cut your move count down to 11 for your body, but I'd like to show where did it go? I would like to show another solution. Yeah. So here, there's a 9 move body, 4 move V on green. So you can do R to notice, to make this block, and then L, U prime, R prime to finish the V. And then you just get an insert. And then I'm going to show how I would, and then if you don't one look this and you don't know it's going to be like an insert into the back, you're probably going to want to solve the empty slot into the front. So the finger tricks for that are still pretty good. Just like that. But then I'm going to talk about how I would one look that, because that's probably a V you should be thinking about one looking at this point. So you know, from this angle, since the top does a U prime, and this piece is just going to stay where it's at, it's just going to go like that. This piece is going to end up solved. And then this sticker is going to be here. So that's really all you need to know that it's going to be an insert, because this piece isn't going to move. So that's how I would have done that scramble. Okay, so I think strengths and weaknesses. Linus is like a pretty well-rounded Pyra solver. Nothing he does is like absolutely horrendous. But he doesn't do anything like exceptionally well either. So I'm just gonna give like, so my biggest compliment is that like you aren't doing, is like these scrambles were pretty bad. There were no 3 move Vs. They were all 4 or 5 optimal, and you found between 5 and 6 on all of them. So you're finding almost optimal Vs, which for your speed is not worse than expected. So that's good that your Vs aren't like lacking behind. You're going to want to improve them a little bit, but I think for you, that's just going to come with solves. I don't think you're going to have a very hard time as you do more Pyraminx solves making better Vs. I noticed you were doing all your tips at the start, but your finger trick, which is good, but your finger tricks for them weren't great. Like sometimes you would do, like you wouldn't do them all at the same time. So I think just like doing tip only solves, and I think Ezra and Harsha both have pretty good tip finger trick videos that you might want to check out. I think that could shave down just a little bit of time. And then the other thing is, I have 2 other things. The other thing is that I think just turn with a little more urgency. Your turning is like pretty accurate. You're not locking up a whole lot, which is good, but I think you could definitely just stand to turn faster, which it seems like you're holding back a little. So I would just send it more often. I think you're going to get more, at least more good singles that way. And then the other thing is like with your Vs, what I noticed is that you're not really like, you're taking a lot of stuff that's given to you, like when you're given a block or something, but you're not doing a lot of active block building, if that makes sense. You're just like taking the blocks that are given to you and then inserting pieces, which I think making the transition from doing that to like being more proactive in making blocks is what's going to help your Vs take the next step up into being really good. So That's all for this one. Goodbye.